Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some malicious compliance. Please check out the KCC Discord linked in the description down below. There you can talk to me and a whole bunch of KCC fans who hang out there on a regular basis. I look forward to seeing you there. Our first story today comes to us from Throwaway936292. Spend a set amount of time on each task? Sure thing. Let's jump right in. So recently we got a new manager in work. Before, with my old manager, I was trusted to know how long to spend on each task to complete it properly. I work in a pretty niche field, so aside from me and my old manager, who worked alongside me, no one really knew how long tasks would take me. So they would ask me, could you have that report ready by Friday? And I might say, yeah, that's fine. Or I might say, actually, I can do that in an hour and have it to you before lunch today. Other times, I might say, oh, it will probably be next week before I get that done. This manager, however, is more like an office-wide manager and doesn't really understand what I do at all. She just knows it makes the company a lot of money. Anyway, I had a meeting with her and she essentially gave out to me for not doing each client report in a regular amount of time. She was very condescending, implying that I was lazy and taking naps at work. I actually thought she must think I'm new or am an intern, but I have been here for years. I explained to her that almost all of our reports are bespoke. One client might spend 60,000 euros on a report. The next might spend 350,000 on a much more convoluted and wider reaching piece of work. She sort of blew me off saying, I understand that, but in order to ensure you are not slacking off when working remotely, I'll allocate your hours for each report going forward. Got it? I told her I did, but to email me the details for reference. Her email came in before I got back to my desk. It read something like, due to irregularities in your timesheet, which you were not able to adequately explain, I will now be allocating your time for each report. All caps, under no circumstances are you to go over these hours. I was already laughing internally as I read this. I just replied, politely apologizing that I wasn't clear in explaining myself. I restated that because projects varied, some naturally took longer, but that as she was my boss, I was happy to work however she wanted. The next day, I got my allocation from her. To keep it simple, let's say 4 client projects, 10 hours each. Her emails restated not to go over hours, so I didn't. Projects 1 and 2 took an hour each. Then I went downstairs and played Elden Rings. Project 3 was about 40% done when I ran out of hours. Project 4 was about 10% done. I forwarded on my work at the end of the 10 hours. In each email, I told her how much work was remaining and if I would be allocated more hours. I put these at the bottom of the email. It took about a week for crap to hit the fan. Presenting to the clients for projects 1 and 2 had gone smoothly, and the manager had become very smug. See, isn't this way much better? No company time wasted. I just nodded and smiled. Then came time to present for client 3. What had been happening in these meetings was that my manager would introduce herself as the head of the project, making it look like she was closet involved. Then say something like, we really want to give OP experience in presenting to clients, so why doesn't he take the lead here? Then I would present as I normally do. I had even presented to these clients several times in the past. Today though, she asked as usual, you ready to take the lead? I pretended to be shocked. I can't. I have only done like 40% of the report. I haven't even seen the finished report. The look on her face was priceless. What? But we are presenting in a few hours. Where is the report? I sent you the unfinished report weeks ago. As soon as I went over my allocated hours, I told you it was incomplete and even asked if it would be allocated more hours. When I didn't hear back, I assumed you did it yourself. Then I pointed out that this was not the only incomplete project. There was screaming, but long story short, she frantically rang the client saying I was ill, so she would have to cancel. They said, no problem, just send the report and we can review it ourselves. The next day, I was called into an emergency in-person meeting with my manager and the boss. When I walked in, they had clearly been talking about the issue. Manager was glaring at me. I took my seat and boss said, OP, what is happening? I started to explain, but when I got to the part about sending progress emails, manager cut me off. I never received any emails. Well, I sent them. They're here on my phone with timestamps. I mean, it's your job to review them before we show them to clients. If you didn't receive them, you should have asked about it. No response. I went on to explain to boss that I presented to the client solely that I was told not to spend more than 10 hours on a project. When I left, boss was angry. Manager was sweating. I no longer have a manager. Our company had to pay a few fines for late delivery. I got enough overtime to buy a car, so it all ended well. Ah, yes, the typical manager, I've never done your job, but I know it better than you do. This is why I still don't understand the process of hiring managers from outside of a company. Because if you have no experience doing the job that you're managing, how can you effectively manage it at all? Do me a quick favor and take a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're actually not subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. This next story comes to us from Deminox. District manager wanted us to treat customers like our best friend. Okay, let's jump right in. Retail time, those were the days. I worked in the number 3 office supply chain in the country. Small flex, as there were only 3 office supply chains at the time. Well, I had one of those district managers that went to district manager school and did all the district manager things. You know, sending emails with random words in bold, different fonts, colors. His emails read like William Shatner having a stroke. The dude was a company man, read over-enthusiastic. Corporate had released a new policy about how we should set the standard for customer interaction. Don't just say hi or welcome to when a customer walks in, but treat them like you are happy they're there. Express interest in them on a unique level. If they're wearing a sports team hat and you know the team, say, hey, great game last night, right? The general idea was to personalize the experience. Don't just sound like an NPC in a video game saying the same lines again and again to everyone. Well, Mr. District Manager Guy living close to our store popped in the day of the store meeting, where this was all announced, and decided to encourage us and lead by example. That's actually pretty cool of a DM to do. But he also had a history of throwing tantrums, and we were like the bad news bears of the district, so it was more treating us like little kids. It felt more condescending than anything. Mr. District Manager interpreted the new policy to be, talk to the customer like they are your best friend. We role-played, and he would berate employee after employee to get it right. Role-playing in retail is always awkward, and this isn't a theater troupe. They aren't trained actors. The majority of the staff is first-time job high school kids and part-time college kids. I was the latter. Our performances were not Hollywood. He wanted Hollywood. And me, I'm a sarcastic clown who loves having a little fun. The kind of guy that practices making ridiculous faces in the mirror so I can try them out on unsuspecting friends later. I love an audience. Don't give me an excuse to be ridiculous. So the store opens at 8 a.m., customers start coming in, and Mr. District Manager is still there, watching our performance and rating us, but not being as loudly snide in front of the customers. Finally, it's my turn, and he's once again repeating out loud, remember, you need to treat the customer like you would treat your best friend walking into your house. I recognize the customer who walked in, an old guy in his 60s we gave the nickname of Reno. And I know he heard every word Mr. District Manager said. Reno is one of our favorite customers. You're about to understand why. Reno walks right up to me. I say, hey dude, what's up? Reno says, you know man, same crap, different day, right? I say, tell me about it. My district manager has been a real pain in the butt lately, with some new idea that's probably going to blow up in his face. Reno laughs, sounds about right. Hey, I need to get some folders for a presentation for the condo association. Know where those are? I say, back at the store. Find them yourself, dude. I'm not your servant. Reno says, fair enough. Think your manager buddy has figured out how stupid this is yet? I say, I don't know, man. He's not that bright. Reno laughs, loud as he is prone to, and takes a step to my district manager. Gives him a big slap on the arm, the kind that ends with his hand gripping the arm up high by the shoulder. Stares him in the eyes, gives his shoulder a small shake. I think he'll figure it out. He doesn't want to make the store's best customer angry, and Reno walks off. Mr. District Manager is beet red angry. If he were a cartoon, there would be steam. He breathes. He practically hisses through clenched teeth, asking, "Just what the hell was I trying to pull? I do my best Joey from Friends. What? You said treat him like my best friend, and Reno practically lives here." I got written up that day. Hashtag worth it. So many times I should have been fired from that job. Also, this was like 2004, so obviously I didn't get the word-for-word banter perfectly memorized, but that's the kind of guy Reno was, and that's the kind of employee I was, and that's the setup we were given. Okay, I completely understand being friendly to customers, but when I walk into a store, I'm not looking for the sales rep to be my best friend and to talk to me like they've known me for years, because, come on, I know you're just there to sell me stuff. You know you're just there to sell me stuff. Let's just keep it that way. This next story comes to us from Boy in Black 13X. Ex-husband ghosts ex-wife, racks up a huge bill. He clearly didn't think things through. Let's jump right in. I'm working in the billing queue in a call center for one of the big 3 telcos, and a client calls in regarding a billing concern. This lady calls in, is puzzled by why she got charged a one-time fee of $49 for a wireless access point. It's Gen 1 equipment for wireless set-top boxes for Optic TV. She's even more puzzled, why would she have that charge when she doesn't have TV services from us? And I am informed she does. It started more or less a month ago. She's disputing that because Optic TV isn't available in her area. Now I'm confused. She lives in a small town and there's no Optic TV there. I do a little digging and find out that someone, no ex-husband, was still on her account and got 3-year contract to get a free TV for Optic TV and internet. She begins to cry on the phone and tells me her now ex-husband had an affair with a younger woman, divorced her, milked her for as much as he could, and apparently is still milking her for more. He totally ghosted her, moved to Alberta, changed his email, phone number, blocked her on all social media, etc. In my mind, I'm like, what a D-head. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, if you cancel the services, you're on hook to pay for cancellation fees and so on. I can tell her though, I can remove his access to your account, and you can also add on a password, downgrade the internet and TV to the bare essentials, and I can attempt to redirect the TV gift from his address to hers, but there's no guarantee as it's been processed already. I can hear the light going off in her head. Wait, what? You have where he's living at now? Why, yes, he's got a TV and internet services, so there's a service address. She goes really quiet, says her lawyer and herself have been trying to track him down, but his family and friends are being tight-lipped about it. She asks if I'm allowed to give that info to her. I smile and reply, this is your account. You have unrestricted access for service address, phone numbers, emails that your now ex-husband provided to us to get hooked up. She asks that I can give her his new address, his new cell number, and the second number left on the account, presumably the new woman, and contact info over the phone right now. I asked if she had a pen and paper handy. She was so ecstatic. And after giving her all the details from her account regarding the second service address, downgrade everything, and he was a hockey fan, and there was a game playing right now with his team. So I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when the game cuts out and he calls in to ask WTF and discovers he's been removed, and there's an account pin, and he's been discovered by his ex-wife and lawyer. So this company charged her $49 basically to find her ex-husband for her? That's a heck of a lot cheaper than hiring a PI to do the same thing. I'd say this was a win-win situation. This next story comes to us from Janie 2019. Proud of my malicious compliance. Let's jump right in. My malicious compliance took place about 20 plus years ago. In September, I accepted a retail job in a small local shop to pay my bills until I could get into a local hospital that offered better pay, benefits, and flex hours that would be compatible with going back to college spring semester. During the interview, the manager brought up that the company likes to promote from within, and they would be happy to start me on a path to assistant manager. I told both the manager and assistant manager that I didn't intend to accept any of their offers for promotion because I was going to be returning to college in the spring. They hired me and I started nearly full-time hours right away. Occasionally, they would make a comment about promoting me and I would repeat the same as I did when I interviewed. Not interested. The job offer from the hospital came shortly before Thanksgiving, so my 2 weeks notice had me starting my new job the first week of December. This meant the retail store would be in the hurt for coverage during the busy month of December. I offered to stay and work evenings and weekends until December 30th because I did want to provide them with coverage, and hey, it would be extra money in my pocket for running a till for 3 hours a night and on weekends. I specifically said December 30th because before getting the hospital job, the manager was a jerk and made sure to let me know I would be working New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. He liked being a D about things like that. When I gave my notice, the manager was so pissed. He said, "We promised we would help you get promoted to an assistant manager position." I responded that since day one and onward, I have told you that I'm not interested in being promoted, as my goal is to return to college. I explained I was taking the job with the hospital, not only for better pay and benefits, but because it would allow me the flexibility of changing my hours when I return to college in the spring and at each following semester. Surprisingly, the manager did let me finish my 2 weeks, but refused my offer of staying until December 30th. His reason for refusing my offer was because I was going to be too out of touch. So the very first Saturday of not working at the store, I get a call from the assistant manager asking me to come in to help. The assistant manager was a pretty cool guy, and he said the manager was the one who asked him to call me. So I told the assistant manager, "Please tell the manager that I would love to come in and help, but I'm afraid I'm just too out of touch." I am a believer in not burning all bridges, but this was one bridge that needed to be set on fire. It's not a huge malicious compliance, but it's a story I still like to tell all these years later. Well, OP, that bridge wasn't just on fire, it was crispy and completely destroyed. But you know what? You didn't start the fire, they did. When they called you back and asked if you would come back in to help out, I would have said, "Sure, I'll come back in, no problem. My consulting rates are about 3 times what you were paying me before, and I need to be paid up front. Is that okay with you?" Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.